Welcome back to Healing Out Loud. This is season 2, episode 10. And this one is incredibly special to me because this is where we close out this chapter of the journey together. Before I get into today's message, I want to slow down and speak directly to my soul tribe. To every person who has been listening from episode 1. To everyone who found me somewhere in the middle of the season. To the person who may have only listened to one episode, but needed to hear those words at the exact right moment in time. I want you to know that I appreciate you. Thank you for giving me your time, your energy. Thank you for listening to my heart. Thank you for allowing me to share pieces of my own journey, my own experiences, my own lessons, and the things that I've learned along the way. And most importantly, thank you for walking this journey with me. Because Healing Out Loud was never just about talking into a microphone. It was about creating a space where we could be honest, where we can talk about the things that hurt, the things we survived, the cycles we had to break, the people we had to release, the moments when we had to rebuild ourselves from places nobody else could see. And maybe most importantly, learning how to become who Yah was calling us to be after everything we had to go through and we've been through. This season has taken us through some deep places. We talked about cycles ending without closure. We talked about emotional loss, the pain that comes with letting go. We talked about rebuilding when we don't recognize our lives anymore. We talked about learning how to trust again, not only trusting other people, but learning to trust yourself again. And now we arrived here at peace. The point where we have to ask ourselves, what are we going to do with everything we fought so hard to heal from? Because healing isn't just about recovering from what happened to you. Healing is also about learning to protect what you've recovered. And that's what I want to leave with you as we close out season 2. Choose peace. Protect your healing. Let that sit with you for a moment. Because so many people think healing is a destination. They think one day you're going to wake up and everything is going to feel perfect. You're never going to hurt again. You're never going to remember what happened. Nothing will trigger you. You will never have another difficult day. But that's not necessarily what healing looks like. Healing is active. Healing is a decision you continue to make. Healing is learning your boundaries. Healing is learning when to speak and when to remain silent. Healing is learning when to stay and when to walk away. Healing is learning who gets access to you and who no longer does. And sometimes the hardest part of healing is realizing that not everything deserves access to the person you're becoming. Not every conversation deserves a response. Not every accusation deserves an explanation. Not every person deserves another opportunity. Not every memory needs to be revisited. Not every relationship is meant to continue simply because it has history. And not every door that opens again is a door Yah is telling you to walk through. Sometimes the door opens because you need to see just how much you've changed. Sometimes you have to go back to something familiar just long enough to realize I don't belong here anymore. Okay, that's not who I am, and that's not the place where I'm at this point in my life. And that realization may hurt some people, because familiar can feel like safety, even when it isn't. Sometimes we become so consumed with chaos that peace feels uncomfortable. We become so consumed with being understood that we start explaining or over-explaining ourselves to people who have already decided and made a choice in their own minds to not understand us. We become so consumed to fighting others and fighting how to feel, how to sit still, when there is finally nothing else to fight for. But that's where growth comes in. You have to learn how to recognize peace when it arrives. And you have to learn how to protect it, because peace is not something you find once and never have to think about it again. Peace is something you choose again and again and again, over and over and over. Even when choosing peace means disappointing people, even when choosing peace means being misunderstood, even when choosing peace means walking away without getting the apology you deserve, even when choosing peace means accepting that you may never get the closure you wanted. Sometimes closure isn't realizing that you don't need another conversation. You don't need another conversation. You don't need another explanation. You don't need another apology. You don't need them to finally understand your pain in order for your healing to be real. Sometimes closure is simply saying, I survived it, I learned from it, I released it, and I'm not going back. Simple, period, point blank. No is a full sentence. Remember that. That's peace. And protecting your peace doesn't mean you're cold. It doesn't mean you don't love people. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you become bitter. It means you're finally learning that your emotional and spiritual well-being matters too. You can love someone and still have boundaries. You can forgive someone and still choose distance. You can wish someone well and still understand that they cannot come with you into your next chapter. And you can release something without hurting it. Sometimes you simply have to say, that was part of my story, but it is no longer part of my future. That's growth. That's maturity. And that's healing. Sometimes we unknowingly return to the very thing Yahweh was trying to deliver us from. We revisit old conversations. We check on people we know we shouldn't. We reopen doors. We prayed for strength to close. We return to environments that cost us our peace. And then we wonder why we feel drained all over again. But eventually, you have to ask yourself a very honest question. Is this feeding my peace? Or is it stealing from it? I must be hungry, y'all. And when you answer that question, be honest, though. Be honest. Not emotional, not nonchalant, not dramatic, not emotional, not based on history. Be honest. because history with someone doesn't automatically mean it belongs in your future. And protecting your healing is not selfish. It is wise. And it is wisdom. It is discernment. And it is growth. Because if you do not protect your peace, life will consistently pull you back into the battle you already survived. And baby, you already survived it. Don't go back to what our Father already delivered you from. Don't go back. You don't have to keep proving that you can. You don't have to keep returning to the fire just because you know how to survive the flames. There comes a point when surviving isn't enough anymore. You deserve to live, to be free. You deserve to breathe. You deserve to laugh again. You deserve to experience relationships that don't require you to abandon yourself. You deserve to wake up without carrying yesterday's anxieties and worries into today. You deserve peace. And I want you to remember this. Boundaries protect your future. Bitterness keeps you connected to your past. There is a difference. And I pray that Yahweh gives you the wisdom to know the difference. As I look back over season 2, I realize that the entire season has been a journey toward this moment. We started with breaking cycles. We moved through losses. We faced the pain of letting go. We learned how to trust again. And now we're here, standing in peace and our authority, calling our power back. Not because everything is perfect, not because every question has been answered, not because every person who hurt us apologized, not because every situation turned out the way we wanted it, but because we learned that peace doesn't require everything around you to be peaceful. Peace comes from knowing who you are and whose you are. And knowing that Yahweh is still with you, even when you don't understand what he's doing. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of Yahweh in the middle of them. And that's where I wanted to leave you with this. Protect what you've prayed for. Protect what you've healed from. Protect your heart, your mind, your spirit, your time, and your energy. And don't feel guilty for doing it. You are allowed to outgrow places, outgrow relationships, outgrow different ways of thinking. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to choose differently. You are allowed to become someone that the old version of you never imagined you could be. And if nobody has told you lately, I am proud of you. I'm proud of me. You got to be proud of yourself too. I am proud of you for still being here. I am proud of you for choosing to heal even when healing hurts. I am proud of you for getting back up. I am proud of you for choosing yourself. I am proud of you for choosing peace, even in the midst of the storm. And if you're still in the middle of your healing journey, please don't compare your chapter to somebody else's. You don't have to rush. You don't have to have everything figured out and all together. Just keep moving one day at a time, one decision at a time, one boundary at a time, one prayer at a time, and one breath at a time. And eventually you're going to look back and realize, I made it further than I thought I would. So Soul Tribe, as we come to the end of season 2, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing these moments with me. Thank you for allowing Healing Out Loud to be a part of your journey. Thank you for every person who pressed play, every person who shared an episode, every person who sent a message, who left an encouraging comment, every person who took something from an episode and applied it to their own life. You may not realize how much that means to me, but I do. I see you. I appreciate you. And you know I love you. This may be the end of season 2, but it's not the end of Healing Out Loud. I have more in my heart. I have more that I want to talk about, more stories, more conversations, more lessons, more things I believe Yahweh has placed on my heart to share. I don't know exactly what the next chapter is going to look like yet. Maybe it will be another season. Maybe it'll be a new season. Maybe it will take a different shape altogether. And honestly, I'm okay with not knowing yet, because I've learned that sometimes we don't need the entire blueprint. Sometimes we just need enough light to take the next step. So I'm not going to force the next chapter. I'm going to let it unfold. But wherever this journey takes us next, and me next, I hope you will be there or wherever I'm at, because you are my soul tribe. And I hope I'll see you in the next episode, the next series, the next conversation, or whatever that may look like. Until then, keep healing, keep growing, keep choosing peace, keep protecting your heart, and most importantly, don't be afraid to heal out loud, because your healing might be the very thing that gives someone else permission to begin theirs. Thank you for being my soul tribe. Thank you for walking with me through season 2. And until we meet again, keep choosing peace, keep protecting your healing, and keep walking in your purpose that Yahweh has given you.